So, switching gears here,
Yep.
we're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens.
Ooh, why would we want to do this?
I mean, I love me some Martin St. Louis. I loved him when he played for Tampa. Loved when he played for the
100%.
Rangers. That dude is a beast, and he brought out the best in that team last season when they made that coaching change.
Yeah,
I think generally when you get a player that has actually had to really work hard, and I'm not insulting greats like Gretzky, but to be fair, why I don't think he was as effective as a coach. It came super natural to him to play. Whereas like a guy like Martin St. Louis, I'm not saying he didn't have talent, because obviously he did. He's a Hall of Fame type player in my opinion. But he had to work his ass off to get recognition due to his size. So I think he can connect better. But I think this is a team that some people can be sleeping on right now. Because they don't have any cap space, so they're not going to make any big deal moves here, right? They're underneath the cap. But I think like you have a lot of talent here. You have Nick Suzuki, who has like they won that trade versus with Las Vegas. Like they won that trade. Like those guys that were
100%.
sent over are no longer with the team.
Yep.
Nick Suzuki, you have Brandon Gallagher, you have Josh Anderson, you have Evgeny Dadonov, you got Mike Hoffman. Now, Mike Hoffman might be kind of a piece of garbage, but he's a good player. You have Christian Dvorak, you have Paul Byron, you got Joel Armida. I mean, and then this rookie, Juhar Slavkovsky. I apologize if I'm butchering the name. Slavkovsky.
Slavkovsky, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna let the more intelligent person say the name, and then you got Cole Caulfield, who after a really rough season, like in the beginning of it, started tearing it up when Martin St. Louis took it. And like what I liked from that is when you saw St. Louis individually working with Caulfield, the smaller guy himself. Be like, yo, this is what you got to do. Be here, and then you see it in game translate for goals. So I think Cole Caulfield will continue to develop, and then a trade they made, which was kind of interesting because he's an RFA, he's not signed yet, is Kirby Doc. Kirby Doc, a centerman from Chicago.
Right. I was gonna say from
Really
Chicago.
wasn't really like he was doing okay over there. Wasn't really panning out like he thought, but he's only 21 years old. The potential, I think, is there to be a very solid second-line center. And so, like, I kind of like what the Canadiens have done this offseason. I think losing Romanov was a big deal because I think Romanov is a very solid player and he's young. You get Matheson from Petrie in that Petrie deal. Oh, yeah, because that's where, wasn't Petrie sent? Was he sent to Pittsburgh or was he sent? I'd have to make sure, but they got Matheson from Pittsburgh. You got Joel Edmondson, David Savard, Justin Barron, Jordan Harris. You got Chris Weidman. Like, you got some solid defenders. And goaltender, though, I don't know how this is going to pan out. Because Carey Price, I think he might be done. I think he might be done. Carey Price, when healthy...
Hold on. Let me just... So it was Matheson and a 4th-round draft pick for Petrie and Ryan Poling.
Okay, so I apologize. Early in the video, I said he went to Nashville. So no, he went to Pittsburgh. That's correct. So yeah, like I think they got younger on defense, obviously with Matheson. I think Matheson is a little bit overpaid, but he's got some talent to his game. I mean, I kind of like how Montreal's looking. The one thing I have is like I think Jake Allen could be a very competent starter. Mm-hmm. I just don't know about Samuel Montembeault, how good of a backup he'll be. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's my one worry because Carey Price looks like he's done from all reports, and I think that quite frankly, Montreal has enough pieces here where maybe not a playoff team, but they'll be one of those fringe teams. Like I think they'll be like one of those teams that could make it on the wild card. Because I think you have Suzuki, you have Gallagher, you have Anderson, Dadonov, Hoffman, Caulfield. And if this rookie draft pick pans out, you have Slavkovsky. I'm butchering the name.
Jesus.
But how do you say it? Just say it.
Hold on. Let me get back to it. I was looking at something else. Okay. So this is how you say his name. Slavkovsky. Slavkovsky. Yeah.
Slav in Maikovsky. Okay, so like, I think he could be panning out well.
I want you to make sure you remember that name, so when he starts scoring goals, you have to say the name.
I'm just going to call him the Slavky, just make it super simple. But I think he's absolutely a very good prospect that could pan out. But there is a little couple red flags with his motor, I believe. I think his motor was questioned at the draft. So we'll see how that pans out. But I don't know. I like what Montreal's doing, and that pains me to say as a Bruins fan, but I think with Martin's the way it's good.
Yeah, no. I think that the Canadiens are banking on a draft pick they had from a few years ago, from 2017. They've had him in the system. They've brought him out to play a few games here or there for them as a backup. He looked solid the first couple of games. His name is Caden Primeau. Caden Primeau.
He's looked kind of mediocre though when he's played his spot starts though.
Right, but again, those are spot starts. But if you look consistently at his career overall, he has a pretty okay, okay career so far. He has struggled when he's been called up, but let's face it, he's been called up in very bad situations when Montreal has been kind of struggling, and obviously they needed someone to fill in a spot here or there. So yeah, it's gonna look rough. It's one of those things. Maybe the situation was too big for him. Maybe the lights were too big for him at that point. But hey, the guy is what? He's only 22. He's still developing. He did well in the AHL. I know it doesn't translate to the NHL, but he did well in the he did well last season. Well, decently well, but he definitely got into the playoffs and played better than he did all season. So there's some show of growth there. But normally save percentage over 900 outside of the call-ups in the NHL. He's normally over 900%. Normally two goals against average. Last season was probably his worst. But once he got into the playoffs, he kind of reverted back to what he's been doing.
Well, he has looked good. Okay, so let's just go into it. I picked up eliteprospects.com.
Gotcha.
First year Montreal, first year pro after Northeastern. We'll look at those stats. Northeastern, 933 save percentage, 931, fantastic statistics, right? Montreal Canadiens, right? 2 games played, 931 save percentage, 101. In the AHL that year, 33 games played, 908, 2.45, 17, 11, 4. Not bad. 2020, 2021, second season as a pro. 4 games played, 849 save percentage, 4.16 goals against, a 1-2-1 in the NHL. But in the AHL, 16 games played, 2.110 goals against, a 909 save percentage, and an 11-4 record. Last season was a disaster for him. He went 12 games played, a 4.62 goals against. That's a really high ERA.
Yeah.
868 goals. 868 save percentage, a 1-7-1 record. Now, mind you, Montreal
don't know how they made it to the playoffs. Don't know how they did it.
Montreal had a really bad team this past season, right? But that was his record in the big league. But in the minor league, Laval, again, he had a 909 save percentage, a 2.94 goals against, 33 games played. And then in the playoffs, he stepped up his game. 14 games played, 2.17 goals against, 936 save percentage, and a 9-5 record. Now, I'm looking at Cap Friendly. I was looking at Cap Friendly. He wasn't assigned technically to the Canadiens organization, I believe.
He's still a restricted free agent for them if you go lower. If you go lower all the way past the roster, it'll take you to the AHL teams or what they called hold on one second. They have a particular name for it. Non-roster guys. So these are all the guys that are on their AHL team or that they can call up at any time that they actually have
I see it now. Yeah.
Right. So I think go further down.
Yeah, I see him. I think with him being 22, he had that fantastic postseason with Laval. Maybe that instills some confidence. Maybe you're right. Maybe you go with a tandem of Jake Allen and Primeau if he can win the job out of camp. But that being said, man, I do like a lot of what I'm seeing out of the Canadiens organization. I think they went with a smart pick. Let's go to this topic. Do you think the Montreal Canadiens skipping Shane Wright was a mistake?
Well, what team did he get picked up by, Shane Wright?
He got picked 4th overall by the Seattle Kraken.
Seattle. That's right. I was just looking at his stuff right now. See, well, that's one of those things. It's difficult to really call that one. He may have been overall the better pick right now. But let me take a look at him overall for a second, right?
Oh, I'm gonna pick up his. We're gonna head up on over.
Gotcha. 6'1", 199 pounds, 4th overall, first right. He shoots right-handed. He's 18 years old. Let's see his career. I mean, in the OHL, he did really well, but in the under 20 for Canada, he only played 2 games, had 1 assist. That was it for him.
I mean, but like, let's look at this. Let's just go into it. I'm not gonna go do AAA because like in AAA he had a phenomenal season under 16, 100.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, bro, you go to AAA, we're looking at way bigger numbers. Like, that's just ridiculous. So we're not gonna touch that one.
That's crazy. I'm gonna pretend that's what I put up. But Kingston for Kingston, his first years in the OHL, 58 games played, 39 goals, 27 assists, 66 points. That's really good.
Yep.
He played Canada Black under 17, was the captain apparently. 5 games played, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points. That's solid. He didn't play obviously in the COVID year because all of that going in, but he played for the under 18 Canada. WJC, 5 games played, 9 goals, 5 assists for 14 points. Extremely good tournament.
Yep.
This past season with the Kingston Frontiacs, he had 63 games played, 32 goals, 62 assists for 94 points. I mean, some people are knocking his attitude that he had, like, he was very cocky, very full of himself. Mm-hmm. I know everybody wants people to be humble. Now, I'm not saying to be like a Yakupov, like ignorant, where it's like, oh, like I'm above the world when, you know, he had a lot of holes in his game. Mm-hmm. But to kind of say that these guys don't have an ego at all, I mean, we'd be lying to ourselves, dude. We have egos in our day-to-day. We have egos in our day-to-day jobs.
Yeah.
So I'm not, like, as long as he's not telling teams, like, oh, like, go F yourself, I'm fine with him being like, I'm not going to be around at, like, pick 5. Like, this guy, or pick 4, this guy has the belief that he's going to get first overall. And to be fair, I think Shane Wright has the chance to develop, like, to that number 1 center and probably better than Slavsky, right? And that's what I'm calling him, keeping it very simple for me and my very, very, very simple self. But I think he has the potential to be greater because he's going to be a center, and he could be a two-way player. I know people question the maturity, but how old is this person again? Like
18?
18 years old.
I believe 18.
18 years old, 6 foot, 190. 18 years old. Obviously, there are more 18. There are some more mature 18-year-olds than others, and some are more programmed better, where they're just going to respond like very like PC, very like appropriate. But he's 18. He's going to grow. You're going to learn. You know, as long as he's not, doing anything like illegal or disgusting, I'm fine with it. And I think that for me personally, I think Montreal should have gone with Shane Wright, because I think having another center in their system to the potential to be another top guy would have had Montreal looking pretty elite. Now, I could be wrong, right? I could be completely wrong, and hell, who knows? Maybe Slavsky, whatever how you say it, he could turn out to be a very elite player. Maybe it's a wash, or maybe it's in favor for Montreal with this draft pick. But, I think passing up the opportunity to draft such a good center, I don't know. I think center's one of your most important positions next to goaltending in hockey, and that's
but I think for them, I think that you look at their center core, and always adding more centers is always a nice thing. But let's face some facts, right? You can have too much of one position.
True.
Right. They don't necessarily translate to wings all the time, all that stuff, whatnot. But you look at what they have, as far as Montreal is concerned. You already have about 5-6 guys that can play center.
Yeah.
Right. You have some of those guys that also play wing, but as you and I both know, just because you say you can doesn't
Doesn't
mean
mean
you
you
can.
can. Yeah.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of those situations, right? Maybe they said, okay, look, we're pretty heavy in the middle with some talent and some potential talent already. Some guys that are possibly going up. Okay, they got the Dosh situation handled and everything else, right? But what they don't have is more than one or two, guys that really fit the wing role and can be considered going elite. Now, I looked at Slavkovsky, right? I looked at his numbers. Nothing to call home about. So maybe they saw something we didn't. The kid's 6'4", 218. Maybe Martin St. Louis say, hey, listen, I need a guy that I can sit on top of his shoulders when I'm coaching everybody else, and this is the guy, right? Who knows? It may have been something as simple as that, right?
You're so stupid.
But I mean, if you look at his numbers,
He's a big boy. Like, he's 18, 6'4", 229. Like, he's a big freaking boy. And
Right,
you can't
so-
teach that.
you can't teach that, right? But now you take him, you have a guy like Martin St. Louis. If he can make him play his type of game with that body frame, the kid could be something special.
I mean, so to be fair to this kid, because he played in the pros, that's the pro league there. In the pro league, in the Liga, 31 games played, 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points.
Nothing
That's
special.
nothing special, but you're playing against men and you're like a 17-year-old. That's
Yeah.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
It seemed when he played in the under 20 where he should have been, 11 games played, 6 goals, 12 assists, 18 points, over a point per game. Pretty solid. Season before that, 16 games played, 8 goals, 5 assists, 13 points. I mean, in the Slovak under 18 team, international junior, 6 games played, 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points. I think
I think they went for the fit. I think they went for something
I think
what
when they
they're
fit,
doing.
and it's weird because the pandemic, unfortunately, it kind of makes it hard for some of these because everything was
Yeah.
shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, in a more fuller season for the under 18 team, 39 games played, 22 goals, 30 assists for 52 points. I mean, it does look like he has the potential to be a good point producer, and he's big. We just don't know how well that's going to translate. So we'll see. I think that like in the under 18 Hlinka Gretzky Cup, 5 games played, 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. Like maybe he impressed, saw some like scouts saw something there. I mean, to be fair, and I'm not trying to because he's a Slovak, right? He's from Slovakia.
Yep.
And they had that was the first time ever 3 Slovakians were picked in the first round.
Yep.
In history of the NHL. But I'll say this, is that, quite frankly, like Pavel Bure, right? And this was because of the red wall. I'm not completely comparing the two. Due to kind of the secretive information and like how things were so difficult to obtain, like they got, I think, what did the Canucks get Pavel Bure? Like in the 4th or 5th round?
Yeah.
Like, and it was
was
like
beat.
absolutely,
He was
it's absolutely crazy because Pavel Bure is a Hall of Famer, one of the best fucking players to ever play the game. And I contend to this day, if Pavel Bure didn't get hurt and his knees start going, he would have put up even more prolific numbers. But back on point here is that this guy's big, got some weight on him already. He's played against men, so I think he has the potential maybe to have the better first year as a rookie. But I don't know. Maybe not trying to be biased. I think maybe Shane Wright might be the better prospect overall. But like I said, I could be proven wrong.
So Pavel Bure was picked 113th in the 1989 draft. 113th.
That's crazy.
Jesus. But
That's-
hey, someone saw something, right? The fact that 3 Slovakian players got picked in the first round, right? There's something we're not seeing. There's something they saw. Something's missing in translation. You hope, right? Because you hope that they made a good pick. But I mean, just statistically, none of us see it. I don't think anybody says like, "Wow, great pick." Everybody's like, "Okay, we got to see what he does." right? Whereas Wright, he's a little bit more proven. It's almost like Wright is more like Sam Darnold. If you go to football, right?
Oof.
Hold on.
Oof, that's
Right?
disrespectful.
He was expected to be the number one pick, and he fell down. Right? And he got picked up by the Jets.
I'm looking at you sideways right now. Keep going.
Of course you are. Right? He got picked up by the Jets. Now, I'm not saying Seattle's the Jets, right? But let's face some facts here. You're going to a franchise that's in their second year, right? They're still growing. Nobody knows where. Nobody knows how, right? There's still a lot of questions to be asked. Will he be coached properly enough to really fulfill his potential? Whereas the Slovakian player, right? I'm not going to butcher his name because I'm not looking at it right now. Slavlatsky, yeah, I got it. He's going into a team that has mostly young players, and he may be able to just fit in. So who may make the more immediate impact? Maybe Wright will make a more immediate impact because he's going to be on a team that's kind of questionable all around. It's still in a growing phase, right? But who will develop best? It may not be Wright. Just saying.
I mean, I think Wright has all the tools, though, to be that next piece. Watching him play junior, he was electric. I mean, I think he was. I think he was an electric player, very good player. And I think, I don't know. Obviously, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know who's going to develop.
Right. But, I mean, pure numbers-wise, yeah, I think Montreal messed up. I think they should have probably picked up Wright, numbers-wise. But the part that we don't know is how much, like you said, there was talks of his persona, right, and his attitude. How much of that would have affected growth, the locker room of what they're trying to build in Montreal, and how much was he humbled by this experience, or maybe even added a chip on his shoulder that's going to make him work even harder to prove a point. So
I mean, that's true. Like this might actually have been the best thing to happen to Shane Wright.
You know what I mean?
Because
if you always have that one guy who's been told you are the man, you are the best, Paul, right? And situations like that happen, right? It takes you back a second to make you realize, like, you know what? Maybe I don't have everything in the bag. Maybe I don't have the whole thing down. Maybe I need to work more at and before you know it, you're improving your game more than you even thought, right? Maybe that happens to Shane Wright. Hopefully that happens to him, and maybe he's the next superstar. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know. These are speculations. These are assumptions. These are based off of numbers and ideologies, right? And we're hoping that that he does have a good career, and that maybe Montreal does eat their words, or maybe it goes the other way around, and maybe Wright ends up being one of those, casual players that gets traded from team to team to team, and he was just one of those guys that was really good for where he was at.
That's true. It's a very, we'll have to see how things pan out.
Yeah.
But it'll be very intriguing to see. Montreal made the draft. Very interesting. And I'll say this, the Montreal, very beautiful city. Have you ever been?
Bro, I went to college half an hour away from Montreal.
Dude, it's
party time, Montreal all day. Love it. I kid you not. I go there all the time, bro.
Dude,
I love it. I haven't been in a few years, but I definitely want to go back. People of Montreal, I love you guys. Always fun, always amazing. The Rocket's right across the border. As soon as you cross a place called the Rocket, craziness. Just go to Montreal. Skip it. You're gonna see the craziness. Just go across.
I'm actually gonna be going, I think, with my girl. I think we're gonna try to go within the next year or two because she actually speaks French. So
nice.
Yeah, so she can speak it and I can look really stupid. So I'm pretty looking forward to that.
Can she teach me? Like dead ass.
I mean, dude, maybe.
I want to learn. Like, I have French heritage. I want to learn how to speak French, to be honest. So,
Dude, I would love to as well, but I also realize that I can barely speak English, so I'm just going to take my losses and, go
two
from
languages.
there.
I'm trying to add a third. I apologize.
I'm so superior.
I apologize that I'm superior to you in the language games.
Oh yeah. The only part in life because you're my son. But
Oh, God.
so